pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I have roll calls, please?
Deputy Mayor Connor.
Here.
Mr. Barker.
Here.
Mr. Gary. Here. Mr. Career.
Here.
And Deputy Clerk. Here.
Okay, we have actually 3 meetings that we have minutes for since our previous meeting, and I'd like to ask, do you want to do these individually or all together?
Oh, it's up to you.
No. All right, well, we'll take the November 16th meeting. Does anybody have any additions, deletions, any questions?
A correction to my report where I was thanking the town of Champlain. You stated I was thanking the town of Plattsburgh. Of course, I could have said Plattsburgh.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be Champlain.
Okay, is there any other changes, deletions, questions? All right, do I have a motion to accept the November 16th minutes
So moved.
with correction? Motion made by trustee Garrett, second.
Is this the meeting with the, yeah, it's November 16th with Donna, is that the one you filled out the report for?
No.
It was our regular meeting.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, the special board meeting of November 23rd. Do we have any additions, deletions? If not, can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Wasn't there?
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
motion made by trustee Poirier, second by trustee Parker, excuse me. All in favor? Aye.
Abstain.
Abstain for trustee Garrett. And the special board meeting of December 7th. Do we have any changes, deletions?
Motion to accept in this read.
Okay, motion made by trustee Garrett, second. Second by trustee Barker, all in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Okay, at this time, we open the meeting to the public. I just want to make a few comments before anyone does speak, that we're going to limit to 5 minutes per Robert's Rules of Order. And you address the board and give your name and address before you speak. So is there someone from the public who'd like to speak at all?
Sure, I would.
Okay.
Chris Kennedy, my mom's property on 18 Moore Street. We had water tests up there to see if the pipes were leaking on the property, and the results while we were there, said that there wasn't a leak. Well,
Correct.
during the test, before when people had checked to see if there was leaks up there, they would usually open up where the water turnoffs are to see if there's water in there. And during the test, when they opened up the water turnoffs, there was water inside of where the turnoffs are going down into the ground, and there's still troubles there, and I was wondering if the board could do anything to help us further with the property with the water. And
I was pretty much thought that was resolved. Do we have, Larry, do you know of any additional problems there?
I mean, there's excessive amounts of water.
Yeah. You got the paper from the guy? I had the guy
Right, there's no leaks.
do up the paper.
Yeah,
Were
so-
the tests done with the valves on or off?
On.
On. And what you're saying is there's still water in the wells? out
Yeah,
there?
yes.
There
where
was
the
water in
turnoffs
one.
are.
The one closer to the pool with the hydrant, there was no water.
And the test came back positive? I mean,
Well, he put it on the screen that came back. It showed right there. He went out of his way and showed us on the screen what a small leak was and what a big leak was. So we would know.
Did he get a reading on anything?
Nope. No, just a straight line.
I went up there, I spent about 4 hours up there with Chris. That was the same time we had him clean up the ditches on the other side of the road, try to get some of the water flowing down that street, get back into the ditches to the culvert systems and let it flow out that way. There's still obviously a problem up there. I mean, he's got a lot of water. They're losing the bottom of their pool. What I tried to explain to him is I thought what the board should do is wait until springtime. Right now, we're kind of out of season. I mean, we're not gonna break ground or dig up around there. But we've still got some kind of problem up there. There's a lot of water.
Is it groundwater? Could it be a
Can't be
spring?
that much groundwater. They're just, I mean, they can't be. So I suggested to Chris.
Are the
that we bring it
culverts
up to
open
the
now?
board.
Everything's open, the culverts are all in. If there was a leak on the pipe and the one by the hydrant is closer to the pool, there should be water in that there.
In your best opinion, Larry, could that be, you know when the ground gets saturated, now that these culverts are open, could that be like a residual until everything just kind of, the sponginess drains out of it?
It could be, if that's more of a clay area right there they went through, the clay's gonna hold it there.
This
rather
is
hold
just
it in the
a
spot.
current problem. This problem that went on
Well, I know,
for a long time.
but what I'm saying is prior to this, we had block culverts, so it would hold water and channel underground, and I'm not saying there isn't a problem, I'm just saying I can understand that if the water didn't flow properly, it would reservoir in different areas and create a wetter issue. Now that these are open, doesn't mean it's gonna dry up instantly, it may take time, so maybe come spring, is like you say, you take another look at it and
Just
see what's
further
happening.
investigation, let's take another look up there. It is a problem. As a village resident, I think we should address it. We've started with this problem, we tried to address it. We're running out of time. We can't really do a whole lot right now. I tried to explain that to Chris as well. But I think we should further investigate in springtime when the weather breaks.
To start with, if they didn't put any, when they put the line in, if they didn't put any stone around it for the water to drain out of them like you're supposed to, and that one's all clay, it's gonna hold it right there.
At the base.
Because you can, the hydrant valve, you can see right to the top of the valve, and we dug up the valve box that was that was lower than that one, and there was nothing in it. And we could fix the extension on it.
All right, well, we'll be taking a look at it again, and like trustee Parker says, probably we can't do a lot till springtime, because the ground's gonna be freezing pretty soon, and just not the time of year for that, but it's not gonna be a drought issue.
Okay, well, I just don't want the issue blown off because, while I was up there during the testing and stuff, Paul had taken the time to come up and look at the property, see the problems. And just as soon as Paul was proved wrong that there wasn't a leak there, I mean, Larry had really made me angry up there. I mean, he had went in putting Paul down quite a bit for actually taking the time and coming to look and see that we do have a problem. I mean, we've got some major issues up there that need to be taken care of.
And we'll address them.
Right.
I like to address that though, because I don't want it blowing off either.
I mean,
All right.
I personally think that you know what the problem is within that area.
Yeah, I know, but there's clay around the pipe, otherwise they'd be watering all the other valves.
I know, but my issue is why does it keep going on and on and on? If you actually know what the problem is, how come
All right.
you don't fix it for me?
5 minutes to each person. This will be addressed, and we'll carry forward with it. Okay. Anybody else from the public? Yes, sir.
Yes, my name is Frederick Reno. I'm at 99 Church Street. I spoke to
Okay, yes.
both you and Rainey about this issue. I just wanted to come up and address it to 93 Church Street, the old Champlain building. The outside wall has gotten increasingly worse. I've got kids that play outside. I'm on the fire department. I don't want to get a call for to do a recovery underneath. Right now there's a plastic construction fence that was around the perimeter. That's fallen down. It's deteriorating really bad.
And I realize there is an issue, and after you called me, I drove by there, and I see where the brick is just kind of hanging down from there. I asked yesterday to get the correspondence since the new owner took ownership of the building, of what we sent him. There's been a couple letters, and we're going to follow up on it for sure. It was mentioned that in fact, there was someone that came in here. How long ago? 3-4 weeks ago, maybe?
It was when Bob was here, actually.
So it's probably
Todd
2 to 3 weeks. That was going to do the masonry work on it. We haven't heard anything since, so I think it's time that we do follow up on it for sure, and that'll be done this week.
Actually, if you don't mind, I've addressed this problem also. If you watched our board minutes and read our minutes, I've been on this for about the last 4 months. You're on one side, I've been dealing with the people on the other side of you, the cast irons. there's slate falling off that roof. Every single month we bring this up. We've got to get that building secured. The last part I remember is we talked to Joe Webb. Joe Webb sent him, the new owner, a notice saying that he needed to comply and secure that building by a certain date. That date's come and gone. Now we don't have a superintendent, we don't have a codes enforcement officer. We're really stuck in the water here. We can't do anything about it right now. We know the problem's there. And like I said, we've been addressing this for months. For months this has been going on. I almost thought personally going out there myself and putting that fence back up, not as a trustee, but just as a citizen, just to keep the kids away from it. Somebody's gonna get hurt in that property. We're addressing this.
Is there any way in the meantime we could get like a wooden fence put up part way in case that
See,
wall does
that's
let go?
really the responsibility of the property owner. We put the plastic fence up ourselves, being the village, and that's really not our responsibility. We did that just so there wouldn't be anybody trying to get in there. I know it's not a very big retardant, I mean, you can get in there very easily.
I know there's like 3 or 4 stars in the front, and there's a big star in the back where all the beams have been braced together, and it's
See,
the
part
rest
of
of those.
the issue there is that to put a fence up properly, to secure properly, you have to penetrate the ground. The minute you do that, you've got to call UFPO, there's gas lines, there's phone lines, there's electric lines, and that's part of it. The fence was put up temporarily to the best ability we had at the time to keep little ones away, to deter them. Obviously, it's not going to hold anybody back, but
Well, holding
I
the kids
guess
back
what we can do, and maybe if you're there, if it means standing the thing up, I don't think the board would have a problem if we had a few minutes to send someone over and just stand it back up again. We have a real problem with putting anything in the ground there because, number one, it's not village property. But if we
Private
can
property,
stand a fence
so.
up to help deter children,
Well,
it'd
the
be
children
great.
pretty much stay away from it. It's the brick falling out. is what-
Right.
I mean, I just, the rest of that wall, I mean, it's a,
If you understand
A load-bearing
our
wall.
situation, our hands are kind of tied. We're working on it. And by all means, you're not the only one. We have cast iron on the other side who can't park a car in his driveway because of the slate falling off. But we are working on it, just so you know.
I just come up to, to address it. And,
Excellent.
Okay.
And we appreciate
We
that.
appreciate hearing from you.
Anybody else from the public like to address the board? Yes, Ken.
Ken Delafrange, I'm doing the videotaping here tonight. We've got a good crowd here, obviously. I'm doing my best to capture everyone on tape, but because there's so many heads that I've got to go over, the video may be a little bit bumpy. So I just want to put that on the record in case people are wondering why, the video keeps moving around. So that's it.
Okay. Anyone else that would like to address the board?
Chuck, excuse me, I
Yes.
don't know if I should at this point or if I should wait if you're going to do anything on insurance tonight.
We'll be discussing it, probably will be later in executive session. Okay?
That's fine.
You're welcome to stay, but I mean, for executive session, that's going to be just the board.
So should I air anything I'd like the board to know here?
You certainly can, you have 5 minutes.
First of all, I'm Curtis Latchmore, and I'm from Shazy, and I am the current insurance agent for the Village of Champlain and have been for about the past 7 years. And I thought I would come up and take a few minutes tonight to explain to you just a few things about what you're going to look at in your insurance potential coverages for this year, and field any questions or anything that you might have. And there is a lot of information, and insurance is not a simple matter, and it's not always just what a price is and what a price is and what a price is. There's a lot of stuff built into the insurance policy that one should know when considering buying coverage, especially from the village standpoint. And there's a couple things that I think really have to be really looked at when you're going through this awarding process. Number one, there were bid specs drawn up that were distributed to different agents to provide coverages to the Village of Champlain on. From what I know of the two carriers that provided quotes, not talking agents, I'm talking company to company, there was only one company that's met the village bid specs. They're the ones that are providing all the coverages the village asked for within the bid documents. So I liken that to any other bid project that the village does, whether it's a road project, a water project, a demolition project. You have bid specs, you have bid documents, and what you would look for in the insurance side like you would in those documents because it was handled as a bid, is did all of the players meet the bid specs, the requirements of the village? And in that case, the only carrier that's capable of meeting those bid specs out of the two that provided it was Selective Insurance Company. Not because the other company's a bad company, but just because Selective's the only one capable of doing it with their filings. And within that, there's a few things that you should make note of and just remember in the process. Is there's some coverages that can make a difference at the end of the day. One of the coverages I explained in a letter to the board last week is medical payments coverage. The bid specs ask for medical payments coverage of $5,000. Medical payments coverage with Selective is included at that level. With the other carrier, there are no medical payments coverage whatsoever. They do not offer it. The reason they don't offer it is because a medical payments coverage, nobody has to establish liability when a payment is made. It's a good faith, goodwill payment. Goodwill, if you want to call it a goodwill gesture on the part of the company. Somebody wants a medical bill cared for because they slipped and fell out front, or in any property the village owns. Slipped and fell, take care of it. They don't want anything else except their $400 emergency room bill paid for. With it falling under your liability insurance, somebody would have to prove negligence on the village part in order to pay. So there's difference. Medical payments, no negligence is needed for payment to be made. So that's just a minor one. Another one that's kind of big is this replacement costs on your equipment. Replacement costs on equipment, it was something that was asked for in the specs, something that Selective again provided. Not all companies will provide that. That can be a big difference on whether it's one of your older trucks, if it got totaled in an accident and it was scheduled on a policy for $60,000. With Selective, you would get paid that total $60,000. With the other bidder, Trident, there wouldn't be that payment. It is scheduled on an actual cash value basis. Whatever that vehicle is worth is all you're going to get. So if it's worth $20,000 at the time of the accident with Trident, you get $20,000. So with Selective, it's replacement cost. With Trident, it's actual cash value. That's, again, can be very, very important on a big piece of equipment. Selective has offered that coverage on all your equipment. Your total schedule is at replacement cost, not actual cash value. Another line that's important, and these are all coverages you currently have. So if you take anything other than that, it's coverages you're giving up in your program. The village currently has those coverages. Another one is towing and labor. Selective provides $250 per occurrence within 1,000 miles of the village. I don't know if you have many trucks going outside of 1,000 miles, so if you have a truck that breaks down in Plattsburgh, it has to be towed back here, Selective will pay up to $250 to get that truck back here. In the Trident program, the most they offer in towing and labor is $50. Rental reimbursement. Have a big truck gets into an accident. This time of year, your snowplow gets into an accident. You need a snowplow to plow the roads. In your program currently, Selective is offering $250 a day to rent a vehicle with a maximum of $7,500. Trident doesn't go that high either. They only go $50 and $1,500. Those two line items were not requested. Those are over and above what were requested in the bid specs. Selective automatically include those in every municipality right in New York State, period. You get those coverages. So as I'm saying, there's a lot of things that are there that can just jump back and snap at you if you don't know what you already have and what you were looking for. Another one of them, it doesn't seem like a big thing, but it can be, is demolition costs. Selective provides coverage at $500,000 in demolition costs. There's a fire, you got to demolish, get rid of the property before you rebuild. Selective offers $500,000 in coverage there. Trident offers $100,000. Big difference. Increased cost of construction because of codes. Here you definitely have a problem with your codes enforcement. I don't know a lot about the codes enforcement, but whenever you've got a garage exposure and an office exposure, there's a lot of fire codes that you would have. Selective actually provides whatever it would cost, increased cost of the construction at whatever dollar amount for that to meet codes. Trident doesn't offer that coverage. These again were things that were in the bid specs, those two items that were asked for, that you're getting at different levels and in some cases none. So instead of taking a long time and being long-winded, which I've been known to be before in the past, I just thought it was important that you understand where you go. Now the other important thing for you to all note is that you currently carry a $7 million umbrella policy. That means that in any incident in the village of Champlain, you've got $8 million worth of liability insurance. Any incident, $8 million worth of coverage. Anything less than that, and if you buy anything less than that, you're taking steps backwards in what current coverages are. And again, that's something that, just so you know, and Chuck did a nice job putting it together so you have options to look at, but that's where your current level is. So these are all factors inside this insurance world. It wasn't an easy task for Chuck to put together the bid specs. It's not an easy task to understand what insurance is about. We all get our insurance policies, car, home insurance. Nobody knows what they are. They throw them in the when the bills come in, send the money out. You got insurance. There are so many little details, especially when it comes to the municipal side. It's extremely, extremely important to know what you're getting. The final point is that no matter what bid you take, no matter what you do, and the village is under no obligation to take low price. Insurance is like legal and accounting services, professional services. You can do it on any reason you want to do it. Price doesn't have to be the calling card. But no matter what proposal you take tonight, the village will save quite a bit of money in your budgeted figure for next year's budget on insurance. That's good. You've got things to look at. So if you've got a chance to save money, not hurt yourself in coverage, maybe even better yourself in coverage, that might be the thing to do.
Okay.
So again, if you want me to stay to answer questions in your executive session, I'd be glad to do that if the board requests so, and I'll be glad to stick around and do that for you guys. And if not, just let me know. And
I myself, I think, personally, I think I have a good handle on I've been looking at it for quite a while. I don't know about the rest of the board.
Oh, we had a meeting on this on Monday, so we kind of reviewed what we wanted. We had some finer points to touch on and some things to follow up on.
We'll be discussing, I'm sure, a little bit more later in the meeting in executive session, making a decision probably sometime later this evening. Thank you very much for your concerns and being here, and appreciate all your help.
thank you.
And I'm sure you're available if you have any more questions.
Oh yeah, by all means, I'm available. Phone call away.
Excellent.
Thank you. Is there anybody else from the public who'd like to speak? Okay, if there isn't, we will move on to the mayor's report. By the way, at 7 o'clock we have a public hearing on local law number 3 for this year, so I'll have to stop at that time and go into that public hearing. Okay, first of all, I want to express my condolences to Trustee Poirier for his loss, and I just hope that things turn out well for you, and also your tenants.
Thank you.
We've had a discussion on this, and Randy has said that he's been receiving a lot of calls and
Positive
best wishes from the public. I'd like to entertain a motion later to go into executive session to discuss personnel and insurance. I'd like to have a letter sent to all of the department heads on presenting their budget figures for the 2005-2006 budget year. We need to set a date by. I would think sometime in January. What would be realistic?
Usually probably end of January.
Okay, so January 31st. Okay, that's on Monday. We discussed the Heffalon building. We have some other correspondence that will be read and discussed later on in the meeting. I'd like to ask not only the trustees but the public in general. We haven't heard anything about the Ames building, and maybe it's time that that the village and the residents maybe move forward and maybe have a grassroots effort to maybe get a hold of the current owner and maybe try and see what he had plans for, and if not, maybe try and help him along and getting some type of retail store in there.
I think at one time there was, I think it was Jimmy Sorrell's wanted to do that.
There was
More of a
someone, I couldn't
committee
remember who it
type,
was.
Wasn't it Jim Sorrell?
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
also somebody else from the town that was willing
Julie Castine.
To look up on, or move forward with it.
So if there's people interested out there, maybe we can get a hold of
I think it'd be a good idea.
Jimmy to see if he's still interested in, we'll need like a chairman and see if they can go from there. And, because it's been a long time since Ames has been gone, and we do need something there. It's been too long.
Get some community
That's right.
involvement.
Sure. I know there was a couple of stores that were already approached as far as like a Target store. What it was called. I had started on this in the summertime, but we were looking for something to replace the same type of store Ames was, where you could go and buy almost anything.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think a couple of offers were made, but being such a small community right now at this time, it wasn't really profitable for these companies. But I think maybe with this border expansion coming through, you know, we might have a better shot at attracting somebody to it.
Well, I know Tupper Lake has a Wise Buys, is it? I guess it's doing really well. People are happy with that. And
Sounds like a great idea.
yeah,
Great
so please, if someone's interested or a group of people that are interested in pursuing this, contact our village office and we'll try and coordinate something to get that moving.
We do know now that Palmer bought the building,
Oh, he did?
so we could approach him. I could
Sure.
give him a call.
I didn't realize that.
The last person we called was a realtor,
Okay.
and that's why we had no response, but Palmer has purchased the building.
Oh, good. That makes things a little easier.
I'll have to give him a call.
Sure. Let's see. I guess that's all I have for now, but there will be other things to be discussed once we get into correspondence and later in the meeting. So we have about 1 minute before the public hearing. Probably, Trustee Barker, you probably won't want to get into your
I'd like to take
report.
20, 30, no, I don't really have a lot this month. What I've been doing is I've been following up with Chris and his mom up there on Canal Street, Moore Street. We're still trying to address that. I too have been following these buildings. Like I said, if you've watched our board minutes and we've been on this for months. Same with up on Oak Street. Finally, it looks like we've finally got a developer out there. We're not getting a lot done right now, but at least it's moving. You know, that building's out there for 5 years, burnt out, and
There's a lot to be done.
we pushed, and I'm sure when Mr. Valak gets back in the springtime, he'll be happy to see something up there so he won't have to mow the lawn. Keeping up on items like that, trying to look around the village and seeing how things are going. Of course, we've all been having meetings on insurance issues and superintendent issues and things like that. So not really a whole lot to report this month, just trying to stay on top of things. And I have something for executive session, which would be a personnel issue and also a legal issue.
Okay, thank you very much, Trustee Barker.
That's pretty good.
At this, great. At this time, I'd like to have a motion to go into public hearing for local law number 3.
So moved.
Motion made by Trustee Poirier, second by Trustee Garrett. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Have you do that?
Dawson, could you please read the,
Notice is hereby given that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Champlain will hold a public hearing on December 14, 2004, at 7 p.m. at the village office, Route 9 Main Street, Champlain, for the purpose of hearing those in favor of or in opposition to the adoption of local law number 3 of 2004. Amend Chapter 119, zoning of the village municipal code. Copy of the law is on file at the village office where it may be examined during hours 7 to 4.
okay. At this time, is there any public comments about the local law number 3? the amendments to chapter 119 of our zoning law.
I've got one question. Were these, where did we adopt these from? Were these just current events that we adopt into our local law? Or were these created?
A meeting was held at the zoning board of Dr. Lamb, about a year ago.
Yeah, it's been a while.
And these are all recommendations that they made. They came back to the board approved them, and it's just a matter to adopt them. You have to have a
Right.
public
It's
hearing.
basically to
And
update.
adopt the
Based
local
off
law.
from other municipalities, I would assume?
Our needs and other municipalities.
Any other comments from the public or the board? Okay, at this time, I'd like to have a motion to go out of the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion made by trustee Porter, second. Second by trustee Garrett, all in favor? Carried. Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the new local law number 3 to amend chapter 119 of the zoning law for the village of Champlain.
So moved.
Motion made by trustee Garrett. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Barker, all in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Thank you very much. Okay, trustee Garrett, report.
What? The holiday decorating contest, we will be going through the village starting tomorrow night for the next 3 days, or I might do it all in one night, so have your lights on all those nights. Depends which night I get available to do it, so be prepared. I'm still not done decorating, so if there's anyone else out there that's not done, get busy. We are going to, it's not being held by NYSEG this year, it's just being held by our village office, and you'll be awarded a plaque in recognition of your great decorating job. So, go for it. I won't tell you what I like and what I don't, though. Okay, next. I spent an entire day, I met with the entire staff of the village, one by one. We just went through how's life in general and where they feel they're at with their review. We are starting a review process this year. So just to let you know that we had some conversations there. I've gotten some information on looking at hiring someone to be a grant writer, and I need to get more detail on it to give to you for next month's meeting. But a lot of grants that you can write, and you go through with a grant writer, you build into the proposal their payment. And it's a win-win for us, because there's a lot of grants out there that can help us and get us out of a lot of murky situations financially. So I will be looking into that further. The Babbies have asked me to discuss with you again Bruce Leclerc's property, which is up in French Village, you guys call it. When they met, and Janice was looking for this for me, we have not been able to find it yet. When the zoning board met on this and he went to this property, it was a limited number of cars that were supposed to be on that lot, and it is jam-packed, way over what the limit is, but we're trying to find the paperwork. Does anybody know what it is? Were you here when that was done?
No, I don't remember. No, I don't think I was on the board when that business actually went in there, but I know I've had issues and complaints about the cars too close to the street. I brought it up at least 2 or 3 meetings because it's the visibility, being able to see around that intersection.
I think, and Larry might know on this, wasn't your wife on that board at the time that this was going on?
Too
So maybe a call to her, she might,
I can sit next to him.
she doesn't, I know, she doesn't do that anymore.
Well, 5 years ago, they just used it for an apartment, so you can't do that far.
Yeah, but they went to zoning planning to get approval for this, and
So I think it's got.
I guess the question is, does anybody know what the true answer is in the quantity of vehicles?
Well, we'll keep digging.
Bob Sullivan told us that he remembers there was a hearing. I checked with Larry's wife Donna, she was the secretary at the time.
We did, okay.
And we're just trying to get this, we don't have anything else on that, so we're still working on that.
As far as the ice skating rink, we are covered insurance-wise, no matter whom we go with, of our choices that we're looking at. I will be calling local businesses to get donation of the wood to build the frame. Hopefully we're going to do this at absolutely no expense to the taxpayers. This is going to wait till after Christmas, however. till it gets put up. We might have some downtime, I don't know, check with Larry. But anyway, we are working on it, and we are going forward, and, you know, if we have more nights like tonight, it will be frozen quite quickly.
Also, Amy, can I ask, we had a few dollars left in Parks and Recreations
Yeah.
that we could possibly use for that also?
Yeah. And then the village, what is that my stuff is under for parties and activities and, well, not parties, but you know what I mean.
You have Parks and Recreation,
Is that what it's under?
you're a commissioner of that.
Okay,
I think
none of that's been
it's
spent.
$1,500 or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, none of that's been spent. So we have the money if we need it, but I'm hoping as usual that the local businesses will be very generous. And what we're looking to do is asking each for 6 pieces of 6 by 10s, is it?
2 by 6 by 10.
2 by 6 by 10s. And, you know, that's a minimal cost for folks usually if you break it up to people that are really generous.
Do they have a size in which, what they plan on putting up?
Yes,
Do you remember?
and I don't remember what it was because I couldn't find that sheet
85 by
tonight.
200.
Thank you so much.
It's a good size.
507.
Yep, so it's an official size, so you can actually have a hockey game and whatnot.
And actually, those lights are, Trustee Poyer ran the lines for that this summer.
The disconnect is not installed, nor the main breaker from behind the barber shop. The wires are in there, so there's one main breaker that needs to be ordered. I do have an outdoor sub panel for that, but it has to be installed yet. So there is power to that location, yes.
Right. And I also have an item for executive session personnel. I think that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Garrett. Trustee Poyer.
I don't have too much either tonight. I've had a very busy month. I passed it through the board, that letter to Rouse's Point in regards to the water tower. Just wanted to poll you guys. Everybody seems to be on the same page. We'll forward that letter and move on with that. Okay. The water line to the school, the bid's already been, or the walkthrough for the bidding process on that has already been done. It'll be going out for bid here shortly. Just to give you an update on that, it is a go. The engineers have figured out the specs and the detail for it.
I don't think you heard me.
I'm
Could you say
sorry.
what it's for, please?
Excuse me.
Could you say what that's for, please?
The water line to the school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the new water line to the school.
Did they tell you that we need a resolution
The resolution,
permitting them to hook up to our line?
Right, something's,
there was a bunch of legal documents. I know we had to make a resolution for signing of papers.
Yeah, we did that already, we
Right.
signed everything.
Yeah.
Has the Lombard, Tom the Lombard call, and he needs a resolution stating that the school has authorization to connect to the village water line.
So that's something we should do tonight. Great. So the procedure for making a resolution is, I make a resolution, or I make a motion to
Authorize the school.
authorize the school to hook to our village main in the corner of Paquette Drive and Prospect Street, and run down along the side of Prospect up to the school as per their engineer study specs and cost to them.
Okay, motion made by Trustee Poyer to allow the school to connect to the village water system, seconded by Trustee Barker. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
also, Randy, if you could, maybe you could explain to some of the people here what we're talking about with the water tower, if everybody's not familiar with that subject.
The letter I first brought up, it was kind of a short notice thing, is we do have interest in a water tower that Rouse's Point will be eliminating. They have completed certain tests on it for approval by Board of Health, DEC, and whatever, to be used for potable water in another municipality, meaning Champlain. They're obviously going to be abandoning this. They have their new tower up. They're still using it slightly right now. So what I did is I proposed a letter to them stating that our interest is still there, without making a major commitment, because obviously our budget is very, very short here. So that's what that was about. water tower obviously plays a certain part in new water line to the school. This water line to the school, as we all in this room, whether we're village or town, pay school taxes. They're in a situation where they need to expend a lot of money to upgrade their water system. By this village making this resolution or motion to let them hook on will help everyone in this village and town by reducing their costs, and of course any cost to the school directly reflects in school taxes. Also, when we did our walkthrough a few weeks ago, and this is kind of a short notice thing because they did end up with problems that they weren't aware of, we negotiated and talked rather than going up through a field to actually go along Prospect Street so we can work hand in hand with the town, which we have been doing in the past, and into the future I'd like to work more closely with them. So by moving this line from the middle of the field over to Prospect Street gives it more viable services for Gamelaw Road and a future industrial park off the end of Paquette Drive. So that's where that's kind of looking at. The size of the line we kind of upgraded a little bit, just so if the school did any other further expansions, and if we can elevate our pressure to a certain degree, would also provide them with fire protection. The fire hydrants will be installed as per engineer specs at a minimum distance from point A to point B. However, it won't be actually usable due to pressure. Pressure comes in with a elevated water tower, which we're looking at. We still have to do a cost study on it to see if this is even feasible. So this makes it advantageous to anybody who's a taxpayer, makes it very advantageous to anyone who lives in the village, and very advantageous to the town as well. So it's kind of like a win in all departments. So that's where that kind of came from. We had a planning board meeting the other night. I'll make a report on that as I'm the liaison. There was a Wester Hall, wanted to do the subdivision with a Manning. What it was is Wester Hall's land comes off from Oak Street into an L shape that cut right off behind Manning's property. The planning board looked at it. They decided, and I thought was a great thing, to cut the line off straight so Manning is straight back along with Wester Hall. So the actual property lines within this village have been changed in that one local area, which I don't think will affect any one of us there, but it does make it more feasible for the property owners being neighbors. The wastewater plant is running at 90%. I got wastewater treatment operator Woody Kissel's report, kind of skimmed through it, looks good. And I see Woody here, and I've got one question for him. Did you manage to locate the valve that we were looking at that was damaged?
I found the manufacturer. They haven't got returned their phone back to me. I checked with local suppliers and they couldn't find the manufacturer. I found it online after work.
Okay, good. Just keep me updated with that. I'd like to work with you more, but like I said, I've had a busy month this month. I noticed in our abstract bills to be paid, there was a clutch adjustment on the bills. Is this something, Larry, which truck was that? Do you know the clutch adjustment? Which vehicle was it?
92.
Is that a hydraulic clutch, mechanical? Is that something we could do here? Are you familiar with that clutch system?
Terry sent it when it was being inspected.
Oh, it's the one that was inspected at the same time?
Yeah.
Okay. So they probably did that as part of the inspection?
Well,
Probably didn't have enough slack into it.
they didn't fail it because of that. It still would have passed inspection. It needed to be.
It needed to be adjusted.
Yeah.
While it was there, they adjusted it?
Yeah.
Okay. The other question is the smaller van I see down at Aintails. Has anybody got a progress report on that?
He's gonna look at it. If he gets time, steering box needs to be done on it, replaced. He tried to take it off here, couldn't get it off.
So that's in progress.
Yep.
And I think that's all I've got for this evening.
Okay, thank you,
Thank you.
trustee Clark. Okay, report of clerk treasurer.
You've all been copied with the revenue and expenditure reports for November 2004. Any questions? The water and sewer contracts of the town have been signed in our file. I used the date of July 29th.
This year?
For the new law. I have purchase recs. I don't know if you
Yeah, I
wanna
was,
bring them up.
I'll bring those up.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll-
Do you want to do it?
Sure. So is there any questions on the revenue expenditure reports?
Yes,
I
there
think,
is.
once we get into our budget process, we'll be looking at those real close, see how we stand, and where things are going well and not so well. Okay, the first one that we'll address is the Justice Court purchase requisition. You have $199 for a DCP 1000 copier, a Panasonic recorder for $199.99, and a Brother ML 300 electronic typewriter for $139.99. Just to note that these all are covered under grant money that was received to our Justice Court, so it's at no cost to the village. Do we have a total on that?
Well, we don't even need to approve it, it'd just be your
Oh, okay,
information.
all right, so-
It isn't money that we're spending,
All
it's
right,
grant money.
fine.
Just so you'd be aware of it.
Okay, purchase rec for polymer, 440 pounds per barrel at $1.40 per pound. There's 2 barrels at a total cost of $1,232. This is from the wastewater budget, correct?
Correct.
And this is just to maintain the supply that we need to
Process
do
solids.
business.
Yep.
So do I have a motion to approve the purchase rec for $1,232?
Moved.
Motion made by trustee Garrett, do I have a second? Second by trustee Burke, all in favor? Carried. Okay, purchase requisition for Microflex rubber gloves that are used for the wastewater plant. It's a case, one case, $84 per case. Again, this is an expendable item that we use every day. We just basically replenish our supply. So do I have a motion to approve the purchase requisition for $84 for the rubber gloves?
So moved.
Motion made by trustee Porter, second by trustee Garrett, all in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Silence.
Okay. And the final purchase requisition we have is from Hatch Company?
Heck.
Hack?
I don't know that.
It's in your box.
Just give me, okay, I gotta get mine in there.
Thank you.
This is about a color meter, and can you explain this a little bit, Larry?
Yes, it's a tester to test the chlorine residual and the pH at the water plant. I've been using the same one for the same kind for the last 22 years. And when the guy came up to test the water lines up on Moore Street, I gave him a tour of the water plant because he's in the rural water. And if you serve more than 1,000 people, you're supposed to have a digital. The one we have is not legal. So right now we're in violation, so. And we had brought this up a while back. And Mr. Webb was supposed to get some prices on it, but he didn't get them, so. Woody looked in the book and found one close to what he had. This is it.
What are you using now?
The old one, it's just got the color codes on it. You mix it and set it down.
This one.
And you don't have an accurate residual. This is a portable one. You can take it right out on site to anybody's house. It gives it to you as digital.
Just come out of the water, sewer.
It'll be coming out of water.
Yep, water.
Nothing budgeted.
Yeah, it's just out of that account.
They come out of that account. Then there'd be
2,700 budgeted for it.
there's 815, 36
But only
remaining after this or
836.
before this?
Right.
I don't know, I looked at that.
Before, so that bring that,
Oh,
Down to zero.
after that.
maybe,
That's after that.
we only have $118 left in that budget item. Is this something we can hold off a month or so on, or is it something we have to have?
We got
right
budget coming up and we could actually bring that in. If this is something you can get by with another month.
Well, we're in
Well,
violation.
it won't be till June.
Right now-
It won't be till June, that's right.
Right now, we're in violation,
Right, we're in
so.
violation. We don't have much of a choice.
What else is that account used for?
What was the account? No one, that there was no figures in it originally, so there's a zero balance.
Right.
And last
I'm gonna
month
revolve
we
this
put money in
tomorrow.
there,
Oh, okay.
And that's the remainder of it, so.
Well, yeah,
There
okay.
is
So
money there.
if this is, last year when we did our budget, this is an account that we created in case of issues.
That was that was an account that was always used in previous years, but last year, there was no money put in that account.
So we transferred money
So
last
we
meeting.
changed it in because the account was used.
At the last meeting,
The
we
last
just put
meeting
it
thing
in.
was, no, but not to remove it.
Because we knew we were gonna have to get this. This was brought up like 6 months ago.
When did this go out of, when did that instrument become outdated?
He said that's been obsolete for 2 years.
2 years?
Yes, so he said we're in violation. If you serve more than 1,000 people, it needs to be digital.
How did we end up with this in here? Last meeting, we moved money into this
To pay
account
other bills.
to pay other bills, and this is what was left over from those bills. What account did it come from?
Fund balance.
I don't see that we have much of a choice.
We need to be testing our water. We hear a lot of stuff about our water, even though we do get excellent reports from Board of Health. And I don't think we should be taking a chance on faulty or outdated test equipment.
Do I have a motion to
I make a
approve
motion.
the purchase?
I
of
make
this
a motion to
chlorameter?
approve the purchase.
Motion made by trustee Porter, second.
Second.
Second by trustee Garrett, all in favor? Carried.
It's yours, yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay, report of superintendent. Actually, we have two reports. We have one from our acting superintendent prior to leaving, and then we have one from our foreman, Larry Sorrell, from the, since our last meeting.
Since the 24th of November.
It just came through.
Yes, I believe it did. It just came in today, it wasn't there last Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's- What we'd like to have that is, and I know you're relatively new to this, is like the Friday before, so it gives everybody an opportunity to review it. Likewise with the bills themselves too, the purchase requisition, I'd like to have them like the Friday before the meeting, so we have a little more time to review it, just so people are aware of that. So does anybody have any questions? I probably haven't had an opportunity to really look at your post.
Larry, did we get on Canal Street up there, we did some backfill? I
Yeah.
guess we put a new pipe in on the one side.
Yeah, we put 20-foot extension. We found the other pipe, we took the piece out that was buried, we dug it and put 20-foot extension in, we backfilled onto it. And then we found the pipe on the other side. And right now we're working on putting some course fill in there so we can get down in there to ditch it because it's filled in on the other side and that's why the water didn't drain the way it should.
You did
We found the pipe on
the
both sides and we got
riverside.
it to relieve, yeah.
Great, so that'll take care of some of that little canal issue behind everybody's backyard up there.
And all Moore Street culverts are all done. The drive, we just have to asphalt the driveways in the spring.
Are you aware that we got a letter from the homeowner up there that said, remember where we talked, where we wanted to kind of cut into that lawn to channel that water off before
Yes,
it got to
yes.
the Kennedy property?
Yes,
We did get a notice that said that
yes,
we had,
we could do it. But I was waiting to see where the water was gonna run and then do it where the water was gonna run to the side of the road.
that's what
There's no sense doing it uphill if it's going downhill.
I think springtime will give us a better look at what's going on up there and how to address it.
Is there any other questions that the board has for,
Yeah, I asked them
Mr.
earlier, the ones that I wasn't aware of, I
Yeah.
asked them earlier, the ones I had.
I know we're coming into the winter season, so it's busy every day, just about between the little bit of snow we have, the roads getting slippery, and the sidewalks. Just try and keep up the good work and keep the roads clear and the sidewalks as good as we can get them. You know, it's tough sometimes when it thaws or freezes, and
I do
Makes
have
it tough.
another question. Chuck and I were looking at the unit heater in the back garage.
oh, yes, that's right.
You see how that's kind of like tipping?
Yeah,
That
well,
unit heater?
yeah, but that's tipped ever since you walked down that back on the boards in the back, over top of the meters. Somebody had to step on there, on that ceiling back there.
Need to put up some
I know the
braces
heater
or
wasn't
something.
tipped that long
That
ago.
heater's been tipped for 4 or 5 months.
I think that if it's been tipped that long, we really need to address it because you've got bulbs on 8-foot fluorescent bulb that are popping out of the sockets and the thing is gone. So obviously the bulbs are gonna
Well, yeah,
pop.
because if you look where the heater is, the rafter is up there, it's been cut into so the door can go up because the door got caught all the
I
time.
saw where it was.
And that rafter is cracked, so what you
Right.
really need to do is get in there and jack it up from the bottom and then brace it from up on top someplace.
But this is what we need. I mean, before it falls on top of the oil tank and we end up with other issues, electrical, whatever. If you get a chance, put somebody on it or yourself if you know how to get it up and brace it or whatever. The bulbs are gonna fall here shortly, so that's gotta be addressed. Sooner the better.
Well, right now, we're going to be in the process of reading water meters, get them done before Christmas.
Well, I think, and I understand that, but what I'm saying is you got a safety issue here. Before that thing falls on somebody or even the bulbs, I think we should address that. If we don't have time, that's okay. We'll sub it out or we'll hire somebody to do it. That's not a problem.
It's not a problem to get it done, we'll get it
Okay,
going.
good, thanks.
Yeah,
we can do
just
a job.
just take a
I
look,
just-
see what it's gonna take, and then,
Right.
and that was gonna take anything big, you know.
If
let
we
us
something
know.
major, let us know, we'll get somebody to do it. It's not, but if you got time, that's great. That's where somebody gets hurt.
Okay, anything else? Yes, Wade?
I've got two things that came up before I could put them into the board. The pump was returned from Flight. They repaired it at no charge. All we had to do was pay for the freight back and forth to Rochester, so we saved probably $1,500. But I need to order a magnetic switch. The list price is $315. I can get it from Warren Electric for $275.
Is the switch what failed the motor?
It's what,
Low amperage or something?
yes, it was causing problems. Now when the switch kicks in, it smokes. So
It's
that
being
pump's not,
overdrawn. It's not
so
a
the
rated
pump, so the-
switch.
so the pump is not being used at this time. And I'd like to order a bag cart for the wastewater plant. The carts we have are 7 to 15 years old. They're rusting apart due to the corrosiveness of the material. The metal is pretty much shot. Trustee Hoyer's been down there. He's made an attempt to weld it once for me. It's holding, but if the cart goes down, we're not gonna be able to process solids, and if we can't process solids, we're in trouble.
Did you get a number on that, the cost of those carts?
Yes,
I
they're
think-
$750 plus freight.
Some ridiculous number.
Is it something?
And that was the price as of this afternoon.
How many carts? One cart?
Just one cart.
There was two. The first one, as it died off, we purchased another one. Now the second one's dying off, and the backup one isn't really.
Can you wait till next month's meeting to put in a purchase for it? Will it last?
I'll try to make
Make
it
it
last,
last.
but if it breaks, then we'll have to address it.
Just go gently. If you can get a purchase record.
Well, the cart I'm using is currently held together with pieces from an old pickup truck.
Get that.
I'm sure there won't be a problem, just to follow, you know, the normal procedures.
They've been repaired probably once or twice a year since last 3 or 4 years.
We all welded on them.
So can I go ahead with the switch?
How much was that switch?
$275. It lists for $315.
And is it the correct switch?
It
You want me to
matches
run
number
the
for number, apple for apple.
From the manufacturer?
Square D.
Yeah, Square D's the name of the switch, but the manufacturer rebuilt the motor.
Oh yeah, that's just, we're replacing.
They're
the-
stating that you need a magnetic starter of this capacity, and that switch that you're talking about matches.
Yes, it's the exact same thing. I'm taking out one and replacing it with the exact same item. I have 2 other ones in there that are working fine.
And if we don't, the
You're not-
motor will continue to blow.
But you're not saying you're replacing the exact switch that's there, because the one that's there failed because it was undersized?
It's been in there 8 years.
Okay.
And
And it is the correct switch.
Yes, it is the correct switch. It's not something that was,
It failed the motor this time because the switch is not pulled.
it was probably a sequence of events with an electric motor and the switch. The motor could have caused the problem and heated up the switch.
That's
$275.
That'd be under the
Collection
wastewater
system.
collection system. Is money available in that account?
I don't know. I haven't seen a budget for a
I
while.
don't see how we can run without this.
Well, if you just spent $1,500 to replace the,
We saved.
motor, to have the motor, we saved $1,500.
Right.
It's just a matter of what you count and it needs to come out.
8 years you've had it?
8 or 9 years, as long as the lift station's been in there.
As long as it comes out of the wastewater account, I don't see a problem with it, right?
That'll probably come out sewage treatment disposal equipment. There's $26,000 in there right
Okay, what's the account number?
now. G 8130.2.
I make a motion to authorize account number G8132.2 to purchase that magnetic starter for that motor.
Second.
Okay, motion made by trustee Porter to purchase the magnetic switch
And
for
hold,
$275 out of account G 8130.2. Motion made by trustee Porter, second by trustee Barker. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Take care of that.
Okay. Anything else from superintendent's report? Move on to correspondence. Susan?
Item 1 is a resignation from Mary Freeman from the planning board and also as secretary of the planning board.
With this resignation, I'm assuming that we need a replacement. I guess, is there anybody knowledgeable, a resident that would like to become a member of the planning board? If there's anyone out there in the public watching this that'd like to be on the planning board, contact the village office. And if there's any trustee that may know someone interested, please let us know. Thank you.
Item 2 is correspondence and a thank you from the New York State DEC regarding our assistance with the sea landford control project that they just completed. Item 3 is correspondence from Time Warner informing us of price changes. Item 4 is a correspondence of the executed contract with NICEX Solutions, the supplier.
Now, with that, we'd also gotten that letter, bear with me, I have it pulled aside.
Is that a company that wanted to work
Right,
out
the
some
MEGA,
pricing?
Municipal Electric and Gas Alliance.
I think we missed it by dates.
I was looking for that. Where is the date on it? It didn't give a date.
They don't, but the contract that we voted on did. I think we had an extension or something at the time.
Yeah, we had to have it out that day. We voted
Right,
on it.
for NICEG, but with this,
And that applies to the roll the dice, not the fixed plan.
mhm.
They will play the lottery for us, I think is the way I understood it. But
Right.
we're already locked
They're
in for 1
showing
year.
us how much we can save. That's all this does. It's non-profit. There's no cost to us to fill this out and have them take a look at it.
But we're not, I think the way I read it is we're not under that, we're under the fixed.
I don't think
That's
we
right.
are.
No, you're
No.
under the variable.
We went under the fixed because we were gonna stick with what we had with last year. We weren't gonna take the chance on power spikes and whatever.
But my understanding of this, it doesn't matter what we're under, it will show us how to save money at no cost to us. Not-for-profit local development corporation. You can enroll in MEGA simply by completing and returning the enclosed participation authorization form for your municipal electric and/or natural gas accounts. There is no obligation or fee to submit this form. After we receive this form, our supplier will estimate your potential savings and will send you a contract for review. you would like the savings and approve of the offer, only then will you be asked to sign a contract to purchase electricity. But we're locked into NICEAG for a year
Yeah,
now.
we just executed this.
All right, well then we should look into this before we lock in next year.
And it was a-
Saying our timing was off.
Right, okay, sorry, move along.
And that was a variable. Item 5 is correspondence from the Teamsters Local 687, requesting a voluntary recognition of the bargaining unit.
Just a comment here. It says that we need to respond within a certain prescribed time limit. Does anybody know what that time limit is?
30 days.
Just that we recognize we received the letter. We don't have to approve anything.
No.
No.
Within 30 days, and then I think after that, what happens is we go to a third party, and then they'll start we'll start conversations back and forth and trying to figure out, just to let the public know that our Public Works Department wants to be recognized by the local 687 union as their bargaining representative. So,
Could we send a letter to the Teamsters Local 687 just acknowledging we received their letter?
Item 8 is correspondence and invoice to the town of Champlain for the generator on Ridge Road. We have received a response to that. Item 7 is resignation letter from Mayor Laporte, effective December 1st.
Just, I guess, accept this with regrets. It's unfortunate that this will come as resign.
I would like to thank him at this time for his service that he did give to us. It was very appreciated.
Service and sincere dedication.
Item 8 is resignation letter from Robert Sullivan.
Again, I think it was very, very helpful for Bob to come for even the short period of time that he was here. In a tough situation. Unfortunately, he decided to go back to the Carolinas, and just thank him for his help.
And again, a lot of dedication from him as well.
Item 9 it has 3 letters thanking the Board of Trustees for paving South Street and Ashland Drive. This one from Joyce Jeremy.
these were last month's letter?
Did you return them?
I didn't get a copy of those.
Actually, we got
They were
them
last
just
month.
before the last meeting, but they weren't put in correspondence
They
to
were
us.
not put on the agenda because they didn't have them. And Gonzalo was first. Item 10 is correspondence to Mr. and Mrs. Philip Patry refusing their request for reduction of their sewer bill. Item 11 is correspondence from Stephen Southwick expressing his interest as a village trustee.
How would we go about it? Is this an issue we will be dealing with?
They'll be
here
discussing
shortly?
in executive session.
Great.
There's certain procedures that we have to follow.
Okay.
Item 12 is correspondence and invoice from Big Boy Supply to ice.com for culvert fees behind their building. We have not had a response to that either.
Should we send another?
This was sent November 23rd, I'd say.
Or 15th, 3 weeks.
Yeah, I'd say no later than beginning of next week, we should send another letter.
Just to ice, or do you want to the town, so that was another issue?
To ice.
Just to ice. Item 13 is notice of application for a liquor license from the former Stumble Inn.
Didn't we already make a resolution to let them go ahead with that?
We authorized that we could, they didn't have to have a 30-day waiting period.
Right.
We gave them a resolution to give to the state so they could apply for it.
Right.
We waived the 30 days.
Yep.
14 is correspondence to New York State Office of Parks and Recreation, returning the executed paperwork for the grant, and that's the Parks Grant Downtown Recreation, the Riverfront Park Development.
No,
Boat launch, correct?
there's some additional paperwork that needs to be filed with this, which was never done. Do we know when that has to be filed by? It sounds like it has to be real soon. Yeah.
It's on a list about 4 or 5 items that they were looking for, if that was the same one.
And, yeah, and I think it's, is it item number 22? Is that the,
Yeah, I guess that's the
Yes,
one.
it is.
right, so we'll just have to get to that.
15 is correspondence from the Department of Army regarding the downtown flooding issue. That was in regard to the meeting.
And that kind of looked like we got sort of kind of shot down on.
Well, I thought we were going in the right direction for a while, and kind of, after reading this, I get the impression that they're gonna put us back on
Back on
the
the list.
review board kind of scheduling after all those years of,
All we can do is appreciate the fact that they did take the time. The Army Corps of Engineers, just so the public knows, did take the time to visit the village of Champlain. I met with them, I don't know what date it was, along with Superintendent Robert Sullivan. We had a meeting here in the village office. We talked about the flooding issues here. They have reports from years ago. The preliminary talk was dredging the river from behind Champlain Laundry all the way through the village and out to the bridge that's on Route 11. They were very interested. Obviously, they have to take this information back. They do their final studies and whatever. What this report is a statement stating that, geez, we understand there's still issues there, but they have hotter issues in other places at this time. So it's not a dead issue, but it's kind of on the back burner right now.
Well, it's been trying for years to
Just to
resolve
get
these
'em here.
issues. And, well, they've been here before, and it's just, you know, you get to a certain point and then,
from what I understand also though, is we were moved on a scale from a level 13, 14, or up to number 2 or 3. So, I mean, we have moved up the ladder quite a bit. I mean, it's still possible this will happen. So, I mean, we did make some progress with it. It's not a dead issue.
Thank you.
Item 16 is our, from the State of New York DOT regarding our CHIPS funding.
This was for November 10th. Did this actually go out, or did this not go out? Does anybody know?
Is what, uh,
Did our CHIPS reimbursement money go out, or it did go out?
Robert Sullivan did that before you left.
Do we have copies of that, you think, or do you know, did you see it? Do
He
we
did
know?
that, didn't he?
Yes,
Did you see it?
I got
Did
it.
they copy it?
No, I believe it was copied for everybody, yes.
Mhm.
I think we have a...
I had one last month. I
Yeah.
just wanted, I have to read in this. I was, well, we have full amount here.
It looked like we missed it.
Yeah, just wanted to verify.
Item 17 is application to the New York State Department of Health for approval of plans for the public water supply improvement relative to NCCS.
So paperwork can be filed.
18 is correspondence from New York Rural Water regarding the water problem at Kennedy's. They did not find any leaks.
Appreciate them coming up and testing that line.
Yes.
19 is correspondence from the town of Champlain regarding the sewer charge for 1187 truck stop. And prior to that, you have a memo from Bob Sullivan and a conversation with that member.
Does this really pertain to us, though? Isn't this an outside user issue?
What this looks like is anything that's coming into this village does pertain to us. This being a customer of the town would more apply to them. Yes, we need to be concerned on anything being put into our wastewater treatment system, which is good to know and be aware that he's only sending gray water. My thoughts on this is that that's something he should be probably negotiating with the town, because we do not have within our limits or boundaries to negotiate special pricing for someone outside of the village.
Well, even within the village.
Even within the village.
I mean,
It's,
we charge a certain rate, and we can't deviate from that rate because of one business or individual.
So it looks like they're looking to hear from us, so maybe if we could send them a letter back to that. You know, the end of his letter, you know, from Bruce Wallet, the supervisor of the town, it says, you know, we look forward to hearing from you in the very near future. Maybe we just send a letter back saying, geez, you know, thank you for the insight, and you know, if there's something else we can do, great, but at this time, it's not a,
We can't reduce any.
it's not within our parameters.
Item 20 is correspondence from Norman Kozlowski stating his interest in the trustee position. Item 21 is correspondence from the Clinton County Health Department regarding our water sampling. And 22 is from the New York State Office of Parks and Recreation regarding the waterfront park that we were just.
Yeah, this is the one that needs to.
Copy of the deed to the property to be developed, an opinion of municipal council, a boundary map which satisfies the state requirements, quote, map requirements enclosed, and a copy of good faith effort program outline. I think is what they're looking
Anyone that
for.
wants to move forward with this, getting
That would be
this up?
Parks and Recreation, wouldn't it? Just both lines. Well, you are the commissioner, you know.
Okay,
You're
when's
handling
this
the-
due?
Yesterday.
I have no time until after Christmas. I'm saying no till after Christmas
I'm
on
not-
anything that anybody asks me.
I'm not sure if I've seen any
It
major
just says as soon as
deadlines.
possible.
As soon
I'm
as
practicing
possible.
no. Yes, I will take care of that.
Thank you.
Yes.
We understand after Christmas first year, I think would be sufficient.
And that's all there is for correspondence.
Okay.
I'm practicing that word. No.
Old business.
Thank you.
Water sewer billing rate for 18 Cedar Street, change. I believe we approved this, wasn't this?
No, Dr. Barker was going to check on that.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, I guess-
we had talked to him about changing it over. We were gonna wait till the
All
next
right.
billing,
Okay.
which is gonna be started here tomorrow or so. So the next billing will be,
Well, you
Be
have
out the
to-
end of the month.
If you're going to change the billing, you have to make a motion to change it, to authorize her to do that.
I'll make a
Or
motion
commercial
to
to
change the
residents or
billing
whatever.
for 18 Cedar Street,
Effective in the next billing period,
next billing period.
not the current one, but next one.
Right.
Okay, motion made by trustee Barger, second.
Second.
Second by trustee Poirier, all in favor?
Hi.
Carried.
How was that, commercial or residential?
Says,
Correct.
On that one
commercial rate to
building.
residential rate.
On that one building.
Right. We'll turn it into an apartment.
No, I guess it already is.
That was already, yeah.
Is it 2 apartments now though? Because if it's 2 apartments, they've been in there for a while, so.
Well, we just talked about this at the last board meeting, and I think I remember saying that they have one in there, they're talking about putting 2, and it's a good idea if you guys passing by, if you happen to notice 2, or when you do your meter reads, to just keep an eye on it. And I think they told us that as well, didn't they?
Yeah,
I think you had mentioned that they told you that they're not putting 2.
So.
When you go to read meters, if you see that there's 2
We
there,
have
then
to make sure it's
obviously.
finished, because if it's not finished, well then they're only going to go for 1.
Right, and technically they should be in for
Permit.
a permit to do that.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit tough right now, but they could at least apply with a permit. So, if you happen to see something going on, mention it to them that, you know, it's a good idea for them to get a permit as well.
Let's get it filled out file.
Okay, Rouse's Point water tank. It's already been discussed. Would you like to hand those letters on, make copies of those for you?
Yep.
Just maybe,
Sure.
just so the trustees have a copy of
Yep. I know I passed it earlier, just to
it.
get
You
everybody's
keep the
opinion
original.
on it.
Right? Give one to Don and one to Janice.
Yeah, my fingers don't bend right.
Just so we have.
You can do it a lot faster, I'm sure.
Okay, the Northeastern
I'll get
Clinton
that for
Central
you.
School
I'll get that
Elementary
too.
School.
Yeah, we're still looking forward to talking to, Mr. Fuller with the development Corporation, to see what happens with that. I think that's what the town's hands right now on where they stand with that. He did show a lot of interest, as we've talked about before, into that school, helping us with that school. I still think that would be a fantastic community center. We could do so much with that building. So I look forward to pursuing that. Try to set up a plan with Greg and pursue this some more.
Okay, the town water sewer districts. The contracts have been signed and returned back to us.
Yes.
And did we get the dates that we were looking for?
Yeah, it's in the resolution, it's in the minutes. It's in the minutes.
Yeah, we might have been-
29.
Yeah, it's July.
29.
29.
Purchase policy, that's just been there for forever. Someday we'll get to it. Heating cost reduction for the office and garage complex.
We talked about a little bit of the heating issue, but as far as heating cost reduction is kind of like still on hold. I haven't really done much with that. That's an insulating issue.
And the parks grant, which
We talked about
is
it.
already been discussed. Any other old business coming from the board? Any other old business? Okay, move on to new business. Any new business? Bring it in front of the board.
Other than the motion on the phone that I copied everybody with.
I get it, man. You actually got me confused on this one, too. Everybody get a chance to read that?
Yes, I did.
Just so you know, the answering machine in the back office does work, because the lady from Tennessee called me. My pager rang and I called her back.
Doing his job.
Doing his job.
I guess let's deal with the second issue first, which was Trustee Barker questioned the roll call vote regarding variable or fixed rates with the New York State Gas and Electric Solutions. There would be a notation, however, voted. All I was saying on that was we did make a roll call vote. According to our NICOM handbook, all roll call votes should be in our minutes. And that's all I wanted done with that. Apparently you said you were going to do that. You were going to put it in the minutes.
I make the notation, yes.
That the roll call vote was in.
Right,
Yeah,
but,
so that was solved on that issue.
right, okay.
The first issue, I saw a motion, and I'd have to go to the last 2 pages, the last 4 paragraphs, or the last 4 sentences. It said, Deputy Clerk, we need a second on that motion. Trustee Barker, second.
It was on the motion for putting an answering machine in at his time expense. That's all.
Where is that motion made?
A little further ahead.
Right here, it says, I make a motion, I'll come in and put in ahead of the thing to save $6 a month.
What's the picture?
I don't know, it's
And
probably.
that wouldn't cover the motion that he made before that?
There was
Never
four,
really
there was
ever
four,
an
4
actual
page back.
motion made.
Yeah.
It was really never a motion,
Yeah.
it was just.
Do we, I see this came out really confusing. Do we have any confusion on whether we did agree that if we got the van for under $1,000, that we would get the phone system? Is there?
Yeah, I had,
disagreement with that?
because that's why I said at the beginning of the meeting, that we never had agreed on that. It was like in gestures, well, what can I get the van for, and then can I get a system? You know, and there was the discussion that we would wait till budget time to discuss that further, and whether it's something that's viable.
Right, and I thought we got to the one point where we said, Trustee Poyer said that if we could get a van for, if he could get the van for under $1,000, that everybody would agree that we could make this price work. Isn't that what you said?
No, his quoted in here, it's close to that, but no, it didn't say that. We were kidding around, let's make a deal with Monty Hall, blah, 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 blah. But it never came to that specific saying, if we buy the van, then we can go ahead and spend the $3,200 on a new phone system. It never came out that way, and she transcribed this word for torturous word.
I think we, like we had discussed
The motion.
previously, we're next month starting to probably get into the budget process.
Not to be rude, you weren't here at that meeting.
I know I wasn't here that day. That's why I was interested in reading this.
Rainey, Trustee Poirier, what do you think about this? You were the one that made the deal with the van,
You know,
so.
I mean, I'm not gonna, does it really matter? The only thing that
Well, we
matters
can't
to me.
address it right
well,
now anyways.
No, the only thing that matters to me is the people and the residents within this village who have an issue that need to get through. Like Larry stated, yeah, the answering machine is working. That's something that's major leaps and bounds for this village because we've never had anything before. So if you had a water main break and your basement's just a flooding, you don't know who to call, sit there and drown. But we do have an answering machine now. That other board meeting, we talked about this. I'd hook ahead of the main trunking system because this automated system we have is obsolete. We've done some cost studies. We know that we'll have a 3-year payback using Champlain Telephone Company upgraded system, same as Rouse's Point, town of Champlain. I do remember negotiating with board members. Normally I negotiate with vendors, but I remember negotiating with Amy particularly. You called me Monty Hall, let's make a deal. And the best of my recollection, that's exactly what was said. Albert said it's going to cost 15 to 20. I says $1,000 to get a van. I said, what number do I have to be under? You said 1,000.
Right, correct.
I said, done. Done.
Right, and that was for us to discuss it for the budget season. It wasn't to get it
Oh, okay.
automatically.
I don't, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to go to that point. I know there was major discussion. I watched the videotape twice, 3 times myself.
Well,
It
she
doesn't
just
matter.
transcribed it word for word.
All I'm
so-
trying to do is put a face on this village that's respectable and presentable and up to date with technology. And I think we're going that way. I think we are slowly moving into evolution into the future. But it's not a major issue. We do have a budget coming up. I got you the van way under the $1,000 budget number you wanted, just as Monty Hall made the deal. Exactly the way.
And also
if
in
memory
your
doesn't
deal-
recollect, that's fine.
No, I'm not saying that at all. And in your deal too, is this van gonna work? Was my question. And you said, yes, inspected and ready to go. It wasn't inspected and it's not ready to go. So the deal was broken.
No, the deal wasn't. I was under the $1,000. It cost us to,
Anyway,
Okay.
I'd like to correct the
To no
minutes from
point.
last
To no
month that there was no motion made to purchase a new phone system, so we need to revert the minutes back to the
I
way
think
they
they
were.
were already approved, weren't they?
Yep.
So
We have to make that
The
correction.
advice from
It's
our
wrong.
attorney.
Right,
Right.
If you read
The
Attorney
attorney
Keeble's
said that it has
advice,
to be corrected.
It's not a valid motion, the way it was made.
It's
I
nice
make
to see
motion
our-
to correct it.
It's nice to see our attorney respond to at least some of our questions, though. I mean, I wish he'd respond to more important questions that we have, but it's nice to see him at least respond.
it's not a major issue. I don't, if it was, I would have ordered it by now. There's been many other major issues that we've been dealing with.
But
And
we
and
never
we've got a
even-
budget coming up.
you never even decided what phone system you wanted though. You were talking
Right,
about
'cause we were
wireless.
talking about the wireless.
You were talking
There was
about getting
no
another
decision
quote from the
made.
phone company, so there really was no particular amount.
The only phone
specific
system I know
amount.
that we talked about is the one that was quoted to us, that we had a 3-year return on investment.
Well, I mean, that's done
And
word
then
for
there was
word
some-
according to the tape.
There was some
and-
talk, about a wireless system that's such new technology that I don't think we're ready
Right,
for
and
that.
Joe was going to look into that.
And Joe's not
Anyways,
here to
just
do
to
it.
make the
Correct.
public aware, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get you, the taxpayers, a way to contact us, the board members, not only in emergencies, but if you have a problem, or if you have an issue around your home, where you're not available to call us when, or we're open from 7:30 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We want to be available for the taxpayers. This is what we're working on. We've been working on this for 8 months now, trying to get you an easier way to contact us so we can deal with some of the issues that you have. That's what this whole thing is about, just so everybody
People don't
knows.
have trouble contacting me.
That's the only ones you hear about.
I don't have a problem contacting me, my number's unlisted.
I think that the question was that it's not whether or not you want to get a phone system, but the motion wasn't clear and it just needs to be redone again.
Well, I don't,
That's all.
at this point, I think we're gonna wait
It
till,
doesn't matter.
we're gonna wait till we go through the budget, and
Sounds
we'll put that in the budget.
I think we should.
So what our attorney is advising us to do is to correct the motion that was made last month.
If it's an issue, it's not an issue. It doesn't matter.
The minutes have to be corrected according to our attorney. It has to be corrected
Why are the minutes wrong?
because he requested that she change the minutes. He had watched the tape twice, you had watched the tape twice, and stated that we had made a motion to purchase a phone system when a motion was never made to purchase a phone system.
I still see what I saw on the tape. I still
Okay,
agree with
but
what I
honey,
saw.
she spent hours and she transcribed it word for word. It's not in here anywhere.
Is that why our minutes were late again? 10 hours on that?
We don't have a
Let's not-
superintendent, Rainey. These
I know
guys are
that.
trying to do everybody's
Calm
job.
down, Amy.
No,
Calm
I'm
down.
tired of you guys picking on people. It
Who am I
needs to
picking
stop.
on? I said it's
You're
ten
saying our
hours.
minutes are late again. I mean, this is absurd.
It's illegal.
Let's
It's a
go.
legal issue.
Stop.
God.
Let's,
Relax. It's not an issue.
so you're talking about from November's minutes. Is that what you're talking about, Amy?
Yes,
Corrections?
yes.
Okay, do I have a motion to make correction
I
to?
make a motion to correct the inadvertent change in the minutes from last month back to the way they were, as per our attorney Keeble.
Do I have a second? Still second? I can second it, but it's not, I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call vote.
I know what I saw and I can't change my mind on it. I know what I saw.
Okay. Trustee Barker?
No.
Trustee Garrett?
Yes.
Trustee Poirier?
No.
And the mayor votes yes. So, it did pass.
Take.
Thank you. Anything else under new business? Okay, at this point, I'd like to have
Make a
someone
motion
enter.
that we go into executive session.
Motion made by trustee Barker, second.
Only if we can limit it.
Is that a?
I'm not seconding it.
I'll second.
Second by trustee Porter. All in favor?
I asked for one.
Carried. Okay, thank you everyone for being here.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming out, people in the community.
Thank you,
Taking time.
everybody.
Thank you very much for coming. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome anytime.
I think you helped out quite a bit.
Oh, I heard one.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.